Why am I optimistic? If you've been listening to the Ask RC podcast for any length of time, you should be able to discern a couple things about me, your host, one of which is I'm a committed evangelical, Protestant, Reformed Christian. I am also a profoundly conservative political pundit. I am to the right, as my father used to say, to the right of Genghis Khan. What I mean by that is I am a minarchist. I believe in the legitimacy of government as long as you can fit it on a postage stamp. I believe in extremely limited government. And we live in an age where Christianity in the Western culture and in these United States is increasingly losing its position of privilege. I've acknowledged that on this podcast, where Christians are increasingly looked upon as beyond the pale, as monstrous, Nazi-like creatures. And we have, and by the way, had under the previous president, and the presidents going back at least for 40 years, massive growth in the size and scope of government. These things that I'm against seem to be winning. So why in the world would I be optimistic? Because I am. I mean, the truth is, I'm optimistic. Now, I'm patient and optimistic. I'm not optimistic about tomorrow or the next day. But there's a profoundly simple reason why I'm optimistic overall. You ready for that reason? The reason I'm optimistic is because my Lord and Savior commanded me to be. He said, "Be of good cheer," not because one day I will overcome the world. That's not what he said. He didn't say be of good cheer because I'm in the process of overcoming the world. He said be of good cheer. I have already overcome the world. Jesus reigns now. Now, does that mean that everything's right in the way it should be? Of course not. Jesus reigns over me now, and I'm far from right in everything I do. I'm a sinner in myself. But the victory in principle has already been won. What we're witnessing, as ugly as it may be, both in our own individual lives as believers and in the world at large, we're watching what military theorists call a mop-up operation. 2 weeks before Hitler took his own life in the bunker, there wasn't a person alive who held out hope that the Nazis were going to win that war. Everyone knew it was over. But people still died. People still shot at each other. What went on was a mop-up operation. And people are still shooting at each other in our world, in our day, spiritually speaking. But Jesus has already won. Which means that every bit of loss of standing and privilege, every bit of ugly reputation that the church has, every bit of ascendancy of unbelief and political liberalism, and every bit of Marxist ideology, every bit of success that it has because the King of Kings has determined that it should do so for the good of his people and for his glory. Do you realize, when you're reading through the book of Exodus, And you know the end of the story. You know the great deliverance. But as you're reading along, remember this. God says multiple times of Pharaoh, "For this reason I lifted you up, that I might make my name known." It would be easy to be discouraged looking at the power of Pharaoh unless you knew that God was the one who put him in that position so that God could bring him down. I'm not worried about the future, because it's in the hands of the one who holds me.